Good afternoon, hello, my name is Daniel, this is the TriathlonDan YouTube channel, and this video is about my all-time favourite bike, the Canyon Endurace CF SL7. Sure, there are more amazing bikes out there in the world, but this bike has taken me on some awesome adventures, some massive days out on the bike. I absolutely love it, and there are plenty more to come. Now, this video is about why I'm choosing to take this bike on a cycling trip, as well as the work I've got to do on this bike to get it ready for it. I've left some things, some maintenance areas a little bit longer than I should have, so it's going to feel like upgrades when I fix them, which is the best kind of maintenance we know. But I wanted to just talk through why I'm choosing a bike like this over, I essentially have a Canyon Grizzle, which I know is a gravel bike, but it's hydraulic discs, it's relatively light for what it is. I've got road wheels and tyres on it. I've been riding it on the road this winter. I was debating taking it on my next cycling trip, which is to Calpe in a week or two, but I'm going to take this, and here's why. So the first reason, and the main reason really, is fit. I've been fitted on this bike by Dan at UK Bike Fit, so I know that the saddle fore and aft and the height and the bars and everything suits me currently. I had it quite recently. I've had a few niggles over the last few months, and Dan looked at me and did loads of testing. I've ridden it on the turbo mostly since then. This is the bike I've ridden the most, and those ailments have gone away, or mostly gone away. So I know that I'm trying to set myself up for a week on the bike. I don't need to change anything. My gravel bike, I had eyeballed the setup and got the tape measure out and do all those things that you as amateurs at home do, and I think it's there or thereabouts, but there or thereabouts isn't good enough if I want to be able to have an excuse-free week. It's particularly to do with the contact points that I worry about. I've got a slightly different saddle on the gravel bike. I have mountain bike pedals on the gravel bike, got road bike pedals on these. And I know I can change those things over. It's a bit of a faff to do so. And then I'm changing the stack height, and the saddle's a different height, and I'm gonna have to change those things as well. And it's just too many variables. As well as that, the cockpit I know is set up for my road position. I can sit on the bars there and do some climbing, just sat on the tops, whereas my gravel bike's slightly different setup, and I have to sit on the hoods more than I do on the tops. And yeah, I just really like how the bike rides. It is a little bit lighter than the gravel bike, but that's not really a factor in it for me. I'm not anywhere near my peak optimum weight for performance, so that is not even a thought consideration of mine, but maybe the morale from knowing your bike is slightly lighter will help me at some point. I don't really know. The other reasons I've chosen this bike is because, well, it is an older bike. I'm going to a foreign country, I'm flying, I'm putting it in a box, it's going to get chucked around. If the worst should happen, if this bike gets smashed up or lost, yes, I'd be really upset, but I wouldn't be as financially damaged as I would be if the Grizzle got damaged or another bike got damaged, those sorts of things. So that is a thought consideration of mine, although fingers crossed it'll all be okay. Now, I was going to mention something about the group set. This is Shimano 11 speed, and if there are any problems, it's more likely there'll be something to fix it. I don't think that's the case anymore. 12 speed is becoming more and more prevalent, so I'll take my own spares. I've got a freshly waxed NRG wax chain on there, so it should be fine. The bottom bracket is all fine, as we can see, and it feels great when I'm riding it on here, so I don't think there'll be any problems, but if there are, I'm sure stock is still stock, Shimano 11 speed parts. My only drivetrain hesitation is that this is one of the Shimano recoil cranks. I haven't had it looked at yet. It does sound okay and feel okay, but I would like to get it replaced if possible, but I haven't been able to get around to that yet, so if it should split while I'm over there, that's just damn unlucky, but we will see. The other reasons are to do with packing. I've packed this bike several times in boxes before. Of course, there are no hydraulic hoses to have to worry about crimping or bending or splitting or breaking. That's a big factor. I want to be able to get out of the box and ride it straight away and not have to worry that I've broken anything in any way. But there are a few things that I need to do to this bike before I'm able to take it. Now, I said that maintenance is maintenance until it's an upgrade, and this one is definitely an upgrade. Now, rim brakes, for a long time I thought were absolutely fine, especially on aluminium wheels, and then I rode disc brake, and I never want to go back to rim brake. However, this will be fine, I'm sure. It's all down to how they're set up and how they work. So the front brake is absolutely fine, good amount of leverage. The caliper moves freely, absolutely great. The rear one is not the case. It's become that stiff over the last few months. I can hardly move it. I don't know if you can hear that. So the shifter gets stuck in and the cable doesn't move, and there's like a grinding, squeaking sound. Really? Oh, that's not good. I need both brakes functional, so I will be swapping the inner and outer brake cable. It might be a bit of a faff to run inside the frame, but I know it'll be worth it to get smooth braking. The other thing I'll be swapping is tyres. I've gone for some Conti GP 5000s, just the clinchers, not the tubeless ready. I don't run tubeless tyres on this training setup. I prefer riding clinchers on the training setup, to be honest. And they are only 25s. I know a lot of people run 28s nowadays, but the clearance on this bike isn't huge, particularly on the back. I think I could fit a 28 on there, but I don't want it to be tight. If you're going through some rough surfaces and the stone's flicking around, I don't want anything to get wedged between the tyre and the frame. And I know 25 is absolutely fine, so I didn't want to commit to buying a pair of 28s and potentially having to try and send them back when I've tried to fit one. As I'm just looking at the wheel and tyre now, I can really see that although I can still see the dimples with the sort of tread indicator on this, there's a real flat, shiny spot on this rear wheel. This tyre's had its life. I've used it all year in 2023. There are a few cuts and slices in it as well. I don't want to go abroad and have to repair punctures every day because I've not put fresh tyres on my bike. This one is ready. The front one isn't anywhere near as worn. I think I replaced it at some point last year, but I'll change the pair and I'll take that front one as a spare for if anybody or myself gets a tyre slash at any point during the week. My friend Dean has also just rebuilt this rear wheel. There was some noise coming from the bearings, so we've changed the free hub bearings and the wheel bearings, so this is all hunky-dory, ready to go and should be absolutely fine. The only other things I'm going to do is get the saddlebag set up with relevant spares in there. I'm going to change the pedal batteries, so I have the Garmin Rally pedals. I do really like them, however, I don't like that you have to replace the batteries. I've got some Asiomas that you recharge, but they're set up on the mountain bike now. These batteries aren't cheap for the Garmin's, and they've got about a quarter of the battery life left. I'm not going to go abroad with a quarter of the battery life left and just wait for them to die to swap. I will swap them before I go. Not the most cost efficient or climate efficient, I imagine. Climate, you know what I mean. So that in a nutshell is why I'm taking this bike instead of my Canyon Grizzle on my cycling trip to Spain. I'm hoping it will be my trusty steed for many, many miles. I think I'll do a separate how I pack a bike video. People often ask me that actually, how do you fit it in a box? What do you take off, what don't you? But I need to ride it this week first before I go next week, so stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching. Hit like and subscribe and all that jazz. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you travel with a hydraulic disc road bike? What do you do with integration? Is it as big of a faff as people make out, or do you need to stick to something a bit more easy to use like this?